happening?
Are we live?
So where do we start, man? Where do we even start with this?
I mean, I think the funny conversation that Miles we had was when I said we'd love to get Will, and Will is my health expert, someone that I look up to, I really do look up to in terms of someone that's leading and exercising and introducing different ways of nutrition. Miles was like, I don't work out, and Miles says, as long as I can keep my man titties away, I'm happy, right? So I think the best place to start, Will, is if you can just introduce yourself and the journey that you've had with health, fitness, in no constraints whatsoever, but also with just sharing some information to people that potentially want to start becoming healthy, people that want to maybe start exercising, getting active, and tapping into that wealth of information you have about the right way to go about living a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've always been into fitness from a exercise perspective. I'm a longtime basketball player and weightlifter. Those are my two main things. I also got certified to teach yoga 5 or 6 years ago. So yoga has definitely been in the mix. And Miles, there's many ways to be healthy. You don't have to go to the gym to get your exercise and fitness in, but you can hike, you can walk, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. But yeah, I would say, I've always been interested in exercise, but I think I would say my real fitness journey started towards the end of college and the beginning of that kind of transitionary period after it, because that's when I realized that I was an addict, that I had to get sober. And ever since then, I've approached fitness from I would like to think of much more well-rounded perspective. So my Instagram is Drink Booch Not Beer, because that's fun. That stands for kombucha. But the YouTube channel is Fitness Three Ways, and I try and do my take on 3 overall aspects of fitness. So there's the mental, the physical, and then the spiritual. And I think that spiritual component was what was really lacking. And I think to have the mental and the physical component be as robust as they can be, I don't think anyone can skip the spiritual component. And that doesn't mean you have to meditate on a cliff. That doesn't mean you have to be one type of religion. But I do think that, even just community building and being part of something like a community or an activity like a podcast, I think can be really spiritually gratifying. But I think that, a well-rounded perspective is the only way to be really, truly happy and healthy. But with that said, I've been bodybuilding is my main thing, but I've always tried to even approach that from a longevity perspective, which is why I got into yoga, and it's why I started stretching, and I started doing research into what supplements will be good, not just to put on muscle, but to make me look good and feel good for the long term.
Yeah. Well, you look good. I'll give you that
Definitely.
one. You look good.
He definitely looks good. Listen, man, and he's not afraid to show it off too. The good thing about the technology that we use at this show is that we can show my brother out here looking all sorts of good right here, executing a very difficult pose. Now, listen, if you don't do yoga, you don't know how difficult this is. This man has his palm on the floor. Incredible. What does it take? And thank you for introducing that element of spirituality and health. And forgive me if I have a lot of questions, because I genuinely do come into this convo with so much specific things that I'd like to get from you as somebody who follows your health journey and somebody who follows Drink Booch Not Beer. Touching on spirituality and health, where would you say those two things you see are interact at their most compatible, if you will, in spirituality and health?
Well, I think there's many, many different ways. I think any really vigorous exercise can have an aspect of meditation. Like I just watched The Alpinist, which is a great documentary, but it's about a climber. And he talks about how, when you're climbing, especially free soloing, I don't do that, but it forces you into the moment. One wrong move and you die. Basketball, to a much lesser degree, is also like that. When you're doing 15 different things physically and you're trying to keep track of who's guarding who, and you're trying to dribble and you're trying to finish, you can't really be thinking about what's going on in your work or in your relationship. So I think to some degree, any vigorous activity has that kind of meditative component. But I think for me, it started with yoga because yoga is slow enough where you can let your mind wander, but it's vigorous enough that you can also, without too much difficulty or even too much, experience, you can use that opportunity to be in a pose and bring your mind back to the present, bring your mind back to breathing. So I think a really good example of that is yoga. And you don't have to be a yogi; you can just stretch. But I'm a fan of yoga because it's a movement based stretching. So, sitting on the floor and stretching is great, but I think not only do you get more out of it physically by the mobile component, but you also get a little bit more spiritual because you're connecting with people if you're in a class, or you're kind of incorporating focusing on the breath and tying that into movement. So I think yoga is a good starting point for that.
For sure. And Will, you alluded to kind of the flow state that you can kind of get into, right, during different like athletic and physical activities. Having had the honor of hooping with you more than a few times, I feel like I've gotten to see you in that flow state. It's a beautiful thing to witness. Like you got to get a courtside camera going so that you can add some of those mixtape moves to the Instagram.
I've got a few videos of me dunking, but yeah, I haven't set up the tripod on the court yet.
So in the hierarchy of like those kind of activities, right? Those loves from hooping to, look at that, man, that's beautiful. For the audio audience, my man just posterized nobody, but it's a great video, It's
a great video, dude. It's a really cool looking video. And I remember when I saw it, I think I called you and I was like, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing? How did you get there?"
Word. Look at the ups though. Yeah, no, that's a beautiful thing. And yeah, man, I think so. So amongst from basketball, which you clearly got some skill at and some love for, and yoga, straight up weightlifting, different areas of cardio. Is there a hierarchy of those, or is it like a lateral love for all those different areas?
Oh, that's a really good question. I love the word flow here because ball is life. Like it's cliche, but ball is life. But when I'm on the road and I'm in a place, because I travel a lot for work, when I'm on the road and I can't find a good run, lifting definitely takes priority. But when I think about planning my 1 or 2 times a year big vacation, like we were just in Yosemite for Thanksgiving, hiking and seeing natural wonder and incorporating that into some sort of physical movement, that takes priority. So it definitely differs on the day. But I think one of the things that's really helped me is, regardless of whether it's basketball, yoga, hiking, weightlifting, movement, preferably with my fellow humans, preferably with people like you or my family or my fiance, movement really is just key. I think that there's something to be said for sitting still and meditating, but stagnation is really the enemy for me and my mindset. And I think for a lot of people, we have, in the States, we have we're one of the lowest in the quote unquote developed country for life expectancy. And it's because we deal with a lot of obesity. And I think, that could be fixed, or at least partially fixed, by just getting up and moving and, finding whatever type of movement calls you.
Word.
Yeah. And they actually say that the amount of time that you need to be moving to have a healthy lifestyle is not as wide of a number as people usually think. I believe it's 10 minutes of a heightened cardio rest rate, your heart rate, right? 10 minutes of that, which is just skipping, running, something to start you off like that. Because sometimes people might look at someone like Will, who's jacked to the nines, and think to themselves, okay, that's either going to take I'm either gonna have to take supplements to be able to get there. I'm gonna have to get there within a week, or just have a very delusional amount of time of what it takes. But your journey has been of a step-by-step process of refining your body and understanding your body. And I asked this question because something that was asked to me to ask to you is, if somebody is starting out with working out and they are starting out by going to the gym, what are some very basic even workouts that you can start with, or what's the mindset? What is integral to beginning a healthy step into gym life?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I would say there's a really good analogy to food. Like, let's say you're trying to get into fitness and you don't know what to eat. Start exploring healthy options or low-calorie options all across the board and find what you like, what's palatable, that is satiating, that you like. And I think similarly in the gym, or it doesn't even have to be in the gym, right? Anything that gets your heart rate up, find what you like. So go for a hike, go for a run, try to go for a bike, or, you know, try out a bunch of different stuff. Try whatever tastes good physically in your body, because really all you're trying to find is something that you actually enjoy doing, right? We are creatures that evolved to have dopamine released when we have exercise, right? So whatever you are going to find that you like, go find it, you know. And so I personally like weightlifting. I've been doing it for a long time, so I've gotten relatively good at it. So I find, you know, I get the gains and I really enjoy that. But there's a lot of people that like hit cardio. You know, you can get a really good workout in 15-20 minutes and you get your heart rate way up. And those are some of the classic ones. But, you know, pickleball is becoming really, really popular. Tennis is something that I've been trying to pick up. I suck at it, but like it's a lot of fun, and you can do that with, you know, it doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter how old or tall. So my answer to that is just, you know, have kind of an open mind and just go see what, you know, throw some crap up on the wall and see what sticks, you know?